Hello everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome back today on my channel. Today's video is going to feature some distress ink blending, and it is a color combo that I've been really enjoying lately and thought I would go ahead and share that with you all today. So I've got three different stencils that I'm going to be using, including this one here from the Hedgehog Hollow. This actually comes in the November 2019 box, and whenever I got my box, I thought it was a really neat stencil, and so I thought I would use it for today's video. But I've also got a stencil from Altenew as well as Newton's Nook, and I will show you those stencils in just a moment. So what I'm going to do is prep up my cardstock. The cardstock that I'm using today is the Distress Watercolor cardstock. I like it because it is bright white, and it really does obviously work with distress inks very well. It is actually made for that. So I have prepped my cardstock to stick to the back of my stencil. I don't have any pixie spray or anything like that, so I have to use tape in order to adhere my stencils. So I've got 4 different ink colors of distress ink. I've got Tumbled Glass, Dried Marigold, Picked Raspberry, and Seedless Preserves. And I'm going to go ahead and open up all of my ink pads so I'll have them ready to go. And of course the blending brushes that I'm using are my Tailored Expressions ink blending brushes. I did show these in a haul recently, so if you haven't seen that and are interested in seeing haul videos, I will link that in the cards above. So I'm going to first start off with my lightest color, which is the Tumbled Glass, and I'm going to work my way up to the darker color. So since this Tumbled Glass is a lighter color, I really want to get this good and saturated. More times than not, and I've said it in previous videos, that anytime that I use actual ink blending brushes like this, I want a softer application because they are really great for that. But if you get enough ink and you still, if you continue to work at ink blending, you can get a little bit more of a saturated color as well. And that's what I wanted to do with this particular color because it is so light. So, but I did get enough color on there of this one that I wanted. Now moving on to my Dried Marigold. I like Dried Marigold simply because it's not as a stark orange. I didn't want too much of a bright orange for this. I wanted it to work its way. I wanted to build it up more or less. So that's why I like this one, and it's really a softer orangey color. Then I'm moving on to the Picked Raspberry, and I absolutely love it whenever the Picked Raspberry hits that Dried Marigold. It creates kind of like a peachy pink color, and it's absolutely beautiful. Love it. Once I get the saturation of this Picked Raspberry the way I want it, then I'm going to move on to my last color, which is the Dried Marigold. No, sorry. My computer distracted me there. Is the Seedless Preserves. And I just love these 4 ink colors together. Obviously, that's why I'm doing a tutorial on them. But I just love how they all look together. It's a blend that I really hadn't tried before. I did use this on a recent blog post for the Hedgehog Hollow, which I am on the design team for. And I made some tags with it. And if you're interested in seeing that blog post, I will try to remember to put the link below in the description bar area. But I loved those tags and loved how they turned out for a winter scene, like a winter sky. So I wanted to keep that love going for this blend and use them on stencils. So as you can see how wonderful this looks, all that blended ink there. And absolutely, these turned out really fun, really bright and bold here. And I know that a lot of us are in the mindset or trying to get into the mindset of doing holiday cards. But for me, I'm not there yet. So I'm still trying to gravitate towards bright, colorful cards like these before I dive into my holiday cards. So this is the Splatter stencil that I mentioned earlier from Altenew that I used. And then also I have this one here from Newton's Nook, and you can see that I kind of did this one up and down. I didn't do it, on the other direction. I thought this is a really cool one called Hardwood Stencil from Newton's Nook. And I really do love the way this one turned out as well. I'm also going to be using this stamp set here from the Stamp Market. This is called the Floral Diamond Stamp Set. And I'm going to be using a few of the sentiments from this stamp set. And I'm going to also be using the coordinating dies from the set. It has this diamond shaped die in it that cuts out the diamond shape. But I'm not going to be stamping the image down. I'm going to be just using the die to create a label, if you will, for my sentiments. So I've got 3 different colors of cardstock here. That's just from my stash. I believe 2 of them are from Paper Tray Ink. And then the other one is, I believe, from Simon Says Stamp, which is the sea glass color. So I'm going to stamp down my images of my sentiments onto my pieces of cardstock here. I did go ahead and prep them for heat embossing with my anti-static powder bag here. And I'm going to be also stamping them with my Versamark ink. Now I'm going to have to get a new Versamark ink pad or something, because I have the ring inker and I probably just need to re-ink it, but I'm just too lazy to do it, I guess. But I just feel like I'm not getting as much ink transferred onto my cardstock with this ink pad as I usually have been. So I guess I'm just going to have to take my own advice and re-ink my ink pad. That's why I bought the re-inker to begin with. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp down all of my sentiments onto my cardstock pieces here. And then I'm going to take that coordinating die and die cut those out using my die cut machine. And what I'm going to be left with is these little diamond shaped labels here. Now these cards are really, I don't know if you consider them clean and simple, but they are pretty easy to do multiples of, because all you're doing is you're ink blending and then creating sentiments for them. And that's pretty much my style these days. I like simplicity. I do love the look of other complicated cards like scene cards and stuff. I just don't do them as much as I once did, because I feel like this is more my style to actually create. But I absolutely love those scene cards. They're so fun. I just don't have the patience or the time right now to create them. So now what I'm going to do is adhere all of my sentiment pieces onto my inked pieces. And I did go ahead and off camera put some foam adhesive on the back of each one of these. All I'm going to do now is just remove the paper backings and adhere those on top. And then I'm going to create my card bases, which are going to be top fold A2 size card bases. And they're going to be the same cardstock colors as my sentiment pieces here. Make it easy that way. And as you can probably tell around the edges too, I also forgot to mention that I did ink around the edges of these cardstock sentiment strips here, or these diamond pieces, a little bit with a little bit of ink, just to make it a little bit more, add a little bit of depth around the edges there. And then once I get these adhered to the card bases, I'm going to add just some final embellishment with my glitter pen. But I'm going to adhere these with some liquid glue, and I really have been enjoying this art glitter glue. It is really great because of the fact you can get the bigger bottle here, but even though it has this kind of like needle tip end, all you got to do is, of course, the glue on it will dry on the very tip, but it's got a pin that you put it in. And I have tried those in the past, and they do still seem to clog. But for some reason or another, this particular nozzle does not clog that bad. Once I remove that pin and I leave it out, even overnight, I can just remove whatever has dried on the tip and just remove it, and my glue works just fine. And it's a really great glue. It adheres to all of my cardstock card bases, or if I have embellishments, it really does adhere really well. It's a really great strong adhesive. So now I'm going to press down all of my pieces onto their card bases and get those into place. And then like I said, I was going to add a little bit of a final embellishment to really bump up the look of these cards. I felt like I needed a little something extra, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then I got to look in, and I was like, well, I really don't want to add any actual, sequins or anything, because I want the backgrounds to be the star of the show. So I thought I would just go ahead and get my glitter pen out here and just add some glitter to the sentiment. And that's really what bumped it up for me and really made me really love these cards even more. Just that little extra shimmer and shine to the sentiments really do add a lot of, something to these cards, as you can see. So here's each one of them up close, and like so you could see the sparkle and shine. And I really do love how all of these turned out. Like I said, they're very simple, but I love simple. And you could easily replicate these in a mass production kind of style very easily. And of course, you could use any distress ink color combos that you wish. So thank you all so much for watching today. I truly appreciate it. I hope to have another video for you all very, very soon. I hope you enjoy this color combo. If you do just decide to try it, or if you have just tried this one out before, let me know in the comments. And just, let me know, or any other combos that you like as well. See you all in my next video.